Sky Holland on Magic. Of course, her latest single, Her, is in our playlist. And you'll hear that again a little bit later on. 8:35, the 16th day of January, 16th day of 2018. Mike Barrett in with us from Barrett Insurance Agency.
Good morning.
With good policies. Mike, good morning to you.
Go like this. Just wake that mouth up.
Hold on. Let me get some more Joe.
More Java will help you out. So first and foremost, anyone trying to call our office right now, I'm so sorry. I forgot to take our holiday message off. So if you're calling our office, you're getting an automated response saying we're closed and we're not. We're open. The girls are frantically texting me going, what's going on?
And he is sincere.
I done forgot.
He was worried about it. He actually steps outside of the studio here, says, I got to update my phone system. I thought you meant like you had to literally update it. It's just the answering machine?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Right now it says, thank you for calling. We're off today in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We'll be open tomorrow. And that's what you're getting if you call right now because I done forgot. So it happens.
Like me getting my mouth woke up, we got to get you woke up here.
Yeah.
So we talk good policies, information here on homeowners, renters, automobile, and, well, pretty much everything in the insurance world that you guys cover. Mike, remember the days when you didn't own the business? You were working with guys and gals in other places.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about, oh, man, I can't believe it. My insurance just went up. Oh, man, I can't believe it. My heating bill went up. I recall in the conversations I've had with folks, I'd say, hey, Joe, I'm paying blah, 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 blah a month on my insurance. And Joe looks at me and goes, you pay that much? Share this, okay?
Yeah, so it's a common thing that we see. It's the friends or family conversation. Mm-hmm. And it's really, you can't base what you pay on what others pay. And there's many reasons.
Well, I was going to say, we touched on some of those in a couple of our past conversations here, but there's more specific information.
Oh, yeah. So let's start with the auto, okay? So, hey, John, this is what I'm paying. Oh, my gosh, you're paying that? I can't believe that's what you're paying. That's ridiculous. Well, John could have basic state minimum liability. He could have a 20-year-old car where you have a brand new one. I mean, we're looking at the type of coverage, the limits of coverage, whether there's physical damage coverage, like comprehensive and collision. If there is, are the deductibles low or are they really high? Is there any roadside assistance? Is there any gap coverage? There's so many things at play.
Well, we did talk about this the past couple of weeks here when we were talking about, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, but that wasn't enough. And then we went 20,000 and that changes. Is this the type of stuff you're talking about?
Very much so, yeah. Okay. The limits of coverage that you are carrying. So, your friends could be getting a great deal because maybe they don't have all the coverage you have. Or maybe they don't have the young driver that you have. Or maybe they don't have the vehicle count that you have. Or maybe they don't have the credit score that you have.
Well, because full coverage is full coverage, but what is that coverage, right?
Right. And I actually do not like to say full coverage, but I do because that's what most people understand. But I always kind of throw it out there with a disclaimer. There's really no such full coverage. When I think full coverage, that means to me, if I get in an accident, I have to worry about zero.
Right.
So I'm getting me a brand new vehicle and everything's bought and paid for and I'm just rolling on and it was painless and it was like ripping off a Band-Aid. Well, that's not what happens. So full coverage, by what most people's perception of full coverage, is liability in addition to physical damage, which would be comprehensive and collision. So that could, exclude, in many cases, people don't think about it until the loss occurs, like rental reimbursement and roadside assistance and things like that. So that's just one of the variables there. But let's talk about the homeowner side.
Okay.
So, hey, this is what I'm paying for my homeowner's insurance. My God, I can't believe you're paying that. Well, you have a different size house. You have different year built of the house. Maybe a house is 100 years old compared to a 10-year-old home. That would be a big difference in price.
Huge.
Maybe you're in the village of Lindenville, or maybe you're in the town of St. Johnsbury, and your friend is out in Concord or Waterford or West Burke. And what I mean by that is if you are in Lindenville and St. Johnsbury, for the most part, there are some other towns in the area that have hydrant protection as well, but we're talking about fire hydrant protection. If you are in the villages or in the town and you can see a fire hydrant within 1,000 feet of your house, that really makes a big difference because that puts you into a better protection class code because the fire department can go and get water right there, versus having to draft off a pond or a stream.
And where is that pond or stream?
Right. So that's why if you look at a lot of every department has a tanker truck, every department has a pumper truck, but some of the towns that are more rural have bigger tanker trucks.
Of course.
If you think about it. So that's because of that need. So there's just 1,000,001 variables. And I said credit score, which in many ways can be termed as an insurance score. It does base on your credit somewhat. So there's just 1,000,001 things. So you could set two policies side by side and maybe do a better comparison of why you're paying more or less than your friends or family. But
Well-
it's just very difficult to really just to go off of their statements.
Well, the two towns you mentioned, St. Johnsbury and Lindenville, another commonality between the two is the majority of each, or
Right.
a good portion of each, is in a floodplain.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas well, for existence, myself in Newark, as you start heading up to Brighton, I mean, almost at the height of the land.
Right. That's
yeah,
where Noah's going to build.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we may have a brook there, but the odds of it flooding pretty slim. I mean, so
Right.
these are all factors that the agencies
And believe it or
consider.
not, flood does not factor into the value to the rate for a homeowner's policy because flood's excluded anyway. But
Okay.
flood insurance is a whole different animal that we
Okay.
should really get into. That's a fun one. That's a fun one, Jeff. I tell you right
There's
now.
a future talk.
You'll like that one. But let's think about some other things too. Wood stove installations, the types of animals you can have, the lack of railings on steps and stairs. You could be being told by your insurance agent or company that, hey, I'm sorry, you can't have a Rottweiler. Well, my friend John has a Rottweiler. Hey, John, how do you have a Rottweiler? Oh, my insurance company allows it. Maybe. Most likely not, but maybe. Because
an assumption.
we're not Big Brother. Insurance companies are not Big Brother. At least they try not to be. So they're not going to go to you every year and say, do you have a dog yet? Do you have a dog yet? Do you have a dog yet? Oh, you do? You do? You do? What kind of dog? What kind of dog? They don't do that. So whether it's an unfenced pool or a slide going into the pool or all these different variables and changes in your life, there are things that can happen that insurance companies don't get caught up on. So that's why it's almost a game of telephone when you're talking to your friends. And believe it, I played that game heavily before I got into this business.
How about this? Heated garage, unheated garage.
No wood allowed in a garage.
Okay.
But a lot of people like those Miller units. Some people have Radiant. That's totally fine. But no wood in a garage. Why is that? Because that's where you store gasoline. Well, I don't have any gas cans. Yeah, but your vehicle that you park in there has gas in it. So there's so many things at play. And all it takes is a vapor and an ember. Boom.
That's it.
Yeah.
We read it in the news. You've read it in the news in the past. I mean,
Yeah.
it is one of those things. So basically, the whole reason we get together here on our Tuesday mornings is because of those variables out there.
Right.
So if folks either call in or they stop in and say, hey, Mike, why don't you give me a quote on my homeowner's insurance?
Mm-hmm.
And it comes in at X dollars. And they say, well, I shopped at such and such a place and they came in $25 less or whatever.
Right.
These are the variables that they need to, okay,
There could
maybe
be
it did.
Yep.
Maybe it did. Call them back and see now.
Right. And maybe they just have a better rate. Maybe we're quoting the exact same thing, 100% apples to apples.
It happens.
But there have been many instances where I've quoted somebody who's shopping going, well, I'm looking for insurance. And I look and I see that they may have exposures that I can't insure, such as two devices in the same flue, like a wood stove and an oil furnace, or two wood stoves even. I can't insure them with any of my carriers. Okay. None of them allow that. Maybe they have a Rottweiler or a Pit Bull or a Presa Canario or a German Shepherd or a St. Bernard. Depending on the companies I'm quoting, I may or may not be able to write that. So there's many instances where somebody might be with an existing insurance carrier that can't come to me because of those exposures. And why is it that they are being insured currently? Because a high probability, especially if they've been with a company for a very long time, that their existing company just simply doesn't know about it.
Well, and not every local agency is representing the same insurance companies, too.
Right. We have a lot of the same. There's no doubt about
Yep.
that. But there are some variables amongst the agencies with what companies they have. So, and underwriting is underwriting. So most companies really follow a very streamlined, here's what we like, here's what we don't like. I do try to find companies like wood stoves in rental situations, not allowed with my carriers. I just found one recently that allows it. So guess what? Next time I get that across my desk, I'll say, I can't help you, but here's somebody who might be able to.
So that's the important thing. And as you've mentioned, and you mention this all the time, it's not just about calling Barrett Insurance Agency. You talk about shopping. People do that for everything. So when you're contacting the insurance company, ask questions.
Be your own advocate. Can't stress that enough. You are the voice of what you have and what you need, and make sure it's heard.
All right. That's good policies for this week. Close things out here.
Yes, you can give us a call, 748-5224. You will hear that we're closed. We're not. We're open. We're also located on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Website is thebarrettagency.com. Facebook, Google, and YouTube is all Barrett Insurance Agency.
You know, it's Groundhog Day. Remember that, right?
It is?
It's the day over and over and over again. So Martin Luther King Day.
Just keeps rolling through.
All right. We're going to keep your morning rolling through. Music on the way from Ed Sheeran here on Magic 97.7.